Hey, welcome to Cute Things by Rebecca. I am Rebecca, and today we are going to make a bag that's called the Not Your Average Hex Bag. The bag is just like one of my other bags. The shape is different. Nothing different about the steps or anything. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to use placement lines to help you decide what cuts that you want to use. When I make a bag, if I'm making a 5x7 bag, I cut my fabrics at 6x8 so I know I have enough. And then on the front pieces, I use my placement lines to determine the amount that I need for the front pieces. I'm going to show you how to do that because not all directions will have specific cuts for every single bag that you may have. So that's why the placement lines are there, are to help guide you and to have a more accurate cut for your needs. Just because I like to cut more doesn't mean you have to cut more. So for me to put specific cut lines in my directions, it doesn't make sense because everybody's different. Some people want more, some people want less. Like I said, this is why we have placements. In all of my In the Hoop projects, you will always run a placement step before you start your project. So it gives you an idea of what you need for fabrics. So, like I said, this video is going to be a little bit longer because I'm going to show you how to do the cuts. Nothing is cut right now. But I'm making a bag out of vinyl. I have some fabric for my lining, some vinyl, a zipper longer than my project. I have this really long zipper. I'm not going to need it all, but we cut that anyways. So a little ruler, measure tape, and I have tearaway in my hoop right now, but you can use cutaway. Whatever you like to use for your bags. So let's get started. I'm going to run the placement step on the stabilizer and I will be right back. Okay, so the placement line is on the stabilizer. So this is the entire project size. So this bag is 8.5 by 6. From here to here to here to the widest points. So when I go and cut my vinyl pieces for the front, I know this is my zipper, and we're going to put that on in just a second. But take your little ruler, measuring tape, or whatever you want to use, and measure from the top line to the center of your zipper right there. It's about, what does it say? 1.5. So my top piece, I'm going to cut, since it's an 8.5 design, I'm going to cut it at 9.5, and I always want extra. So 1.5, I add an inch. So I'm going to cut 2.5 by 9.5 for my top piece. And yeah, I know it's going to be longer, but I'd rather have it longer than not enough. So you may want to cut it at 2 inches, so you only have a 1/2 inch waist. So that's how you measure for your front pieces. So once again, from the middle of your zipper down to the bottom of your project. So we have 4.5. I'm going to cut my piece here at 9.5 by 5.5, just so I'm safe. That's how I do it. And your lining pieces, you want to cut the same. So I will show you how to cut those in just a minute. Let's get the zipper on. So obviously longer than I need, but just line up your zipper. Have your teeth be right on that center line. Not all zippers, the widths are the same, and you can use a number 5 zipper on most of my bags. I have it set so you can do that without your foot catching. So if you want to use the number 5, go for it. And you shouldn't have any problems. There we go. So the next step on the machine is going to tack this zipper down. It's going to bzz, 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 or this way. I can't remember how it goes on here. So I'm going to run that now, and I'll be back and we'll cut these fabrics. Okay, so the zipper's secured on. Now let's cut our fabrics. So, I don't usually show this part, but I want to show everyone how easy it is to use your placement lines. If you ever have questions with anyone's bag dimensions or any kind of dimensions, use your placement lines. It solves a lot of problems. Most designers put a placement step to help with that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my top piece, my bottom piece, and my back piece. So I said my bag was 8.5. I'm going to find 9.5 and I'm going to cut it. And 9.5. This is how I do it. I don't know if it's the right way, but this is how I do it. So let's cut at 9. And now my top piece, 2.5 is what I'm going to cut it at. Oops. And it don't have to be perfect, but I like to keep it kind of straight. Okay, so the top piece and the bottom piece in the front, I like to do a little zigzag sometimes. And I used to use this. It's an oval cutter. It's got a pinking blade, pinking blade in it. And I just like to do it for more decorative outcome. Oh, did it not? Oh, it did. Top piece. And this will be my bottom front. And what I said was 4 inches or so. I can always go back and measure. I think I was going to cut it at 5.5. So I'm just going to measure what I need. So it's 4.5. So I'm going to cut mine at 5.5. So half. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That way I know I have enough. Everything's going to cover everything. And this is a weird shaped bag. It's a hex bag. So you just want to make sure it covers everything. So there's my front pieces. This is not big enough for my back piece. But right now I'm going to go ahead and cut a 3/4 inch piece because I'm going to use it for a tab. Side tab or something. Maybe. But I have it just in case. So this, whoops, excuse me. That'll go in my scraps. Fronts are done. Now, since this is directional, I have to cut it a long ways here. So we're going 9.5 again. And we're going to go 7 inches because the bag is 8.5 by 6 ish. There we have it. So there's the back pieces. So these are our main vinyl pieces if we're making a vinyl bag. All ready to go. Now you want to do the same for your lining. I'll just have this lining. Can we tell which is the front, which is the back? Yes, this is the back, this is the front. So you need 3 pieces of lining, cut the same dimensions, maybe even a little bit bigger for the lining pieces in the on the back, because you want to have a little bit extra to tuck in and sew. So I'm even going to show you how I iron the little pieces over. Let me turn my little iron while we're cutting it. So, ouch. I'm just going to cut my pieces here. Top, No, I didn't even, I just cut it without even measuring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll go 6.5 for the front bottom lining. And then this should be enough for the back. So 3 pieces for your lining. So your front pieces for lining, and even if you're making a bag with fabric, my bags you can make with fabric too. So you can take your fabric pieces and you can iron them over, and we're going to do that for the lining, but you can do that for the front of your bags too before you put them on the stabilizer there. It's just my little ironing pad here. So what you want to do is take your fabric and just fold over about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. And then just iron it. So when you put on your lining, it's not going to be all poofy. So there's that. And you want to do the same for the front bottom. Try to get some of these little wrinkles out. I never use this little iron. I have another one over there on the other side of the room. Let me go ahead and flip out your fabrics and just iron it. So you don't have any raw edges. That's why we're ironing it. And the back, you don't have to worry about because I get stitched all the way around. So we have our lining pieces and our main pieces ready to go. This one's kind of wrinkly. And this piece is bigger because I didn't measure. I just cut a piece off of that corner. But if I cut it, I'm only going to have a little strip, so I'm going to save that. I don't save all my little pieces. Okay, so that's done. Fabrics are cut. So the next step on the design after the zipper is on is going to tack down this top part. So I'm making a vinyl bag, but if we were making a fabric bag, you would take your fabric pieces. If you had folded them over and ironed it, you would lay it like this. If you wanted to do it like this and run your tack downs, or you can take your fabric and put it like this up to the zipper edge there and let it run the line. After the line is finished, then you would flip it up. So a couple of ways to do fabrics, but we're doing vinyl. But I wanted to show you a couple different options. So I'm going to take my piece and just butt it up to the zipper. I'm going to run the next 2 steps on the machine. There's going to be a step here. It's going to tack this down, and then it's going to go up and tack the whole thing down so it doesn't move. Let's do that now. Okay, so I ran that 2 steps, this line and this line, which is a very light stitch. This top one, it's just to hold things in case you have some designs or whatever you want to throw up there and whatnot. So the next step on the machine is going to do the same thing just for the bottom section. So I'm going to run the next 2 steps. It's going to, let's see if I can match up my vinyl here. There we go. It's going to run the line, and then it's going to stop, and then it will tack down this so it doesn't move. Let's do that now. Okay, so now that's all tacked on, and you have this tack for these things because now, before you put your lining on, if you have a design that you want to put on your bag, you would add that at this time. So let's say I wanted a big old coffee cup or an R for Rebecca. I would do that now, but I don't have a design. We're just going to make this bag. So now we're ready for the lining. So what I like to do for the lining, before I do the lining, you don't have to do this, but I like to do it so I know exactly where my zipper is. You can't always see it through the stabilizer, but I like to open up my zipper and clean up the zipper area. Where are my little favorite scissors? Here they are. Okay. So I just like to take it and poke a hole in it so I know what I'm working with. And I just trim. You don't have to do this if you don't want to. I just think it's easier before all the fabric and everything goes on to clean it up around the zipper. Okay, so working on the back of your hoop anyways for the lining. All lining goes on the back. Once you get that figured out, you'll be golden. Once it clicked in my head when I was first making bags, I got that and it became so much easier. Okay, so the top part of the bag, I'm gonna close that again, is next. So you want to take your ironed piece and lay it just below this line because it's going to stitch that line again. So like so. And you want to use tape to secure it because when you flip over the hoop, it's going to fall if you don't tape it. I like to tape it everywhere. Okay, so that's what your top lining piece should look like. I'm going to go ahead and run that next step. Okay, so your top lining piece is secured on now. Do the same for the bottom section. Take your ironed piece, let's fold it over and place it down just a little past that line because that's where it's going to run again. So line it up like so and tape it. Okay, let's go get that one done. Okay, so now our lining is on. Front is on. So the next step on the machine is a placement step for a tab. If you're going to use a tab, some bag designs will have a tab placement on the side and some on top. Not all of them. I put that step in there as a preference. If you want to do a tab, you can put a tab anywhere you want. It's there so you don't forget to do it, because I am notorious for forgetting to put a tab on. So you can run those steps or skip them. That's about the only difference my bags have. Some have tabs, some don't. But as far as like the actual making of the bag, even the shape might be different. Like this versus the normal rectangle bags or the square bags, or the process is the exact same. Like I said, maybe the tabs are there, maybe they're not. It just depended on, you know, I put that in there as a reference point. So for the sake of this video, I'm going to run the placement tab step, which I believe is right here. So I'm going to run that real quick and I'll show you what that looks like and I'll be right back. I did run it. You can't see it, but it's there. The placement step is from here to here. That's right on the line. But that's where it is. If you want to use that, go ahead and take your tab. I've just got this little piece of vinyl here. And when you put your tab, you want the raw edges on the outside of your project. So when you turn them, you'll have your little loop. And so I'm going to go ahead and let's put it like right because this bag is funky. So it's going to do a diagonal and your tab's going to look weird. Anyways, well, it's not going to look straight. It's going to be angled. So going to go ahead and run the next step, which will tack this down. But like I said, you can put your tabs anywhere. It's just a reference. This bag does not have top tabs. Some bags will. You just skip them if you don't want to do this part. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I tacked the tab down. So now we're almost finished, guys. I get excited towards the end of a bag. This time, open your zipper. It's about halfway. And then take your back main vinyl fabric and place it pretty side down, so right sides are together. Make sure you have the entire bag covered. So it's gonna go all the way around and stitch everything together. Like so. You can tape it if you want. I'm not going to. I'm gonna run that and I'll be right back. Okay, so now that's all together. You wanna flip it over to the back side and get your last lining piece. And pretty side down. I think it, whoops, this way. So your right sides will be together. And then tape it and run that last step. It's going to leave an opening, and that's what we're going to turn everything through. So there we go. Almost done. Okay, so it's all done. Your bag is done. We have an opening that we're going to turn through, but now we can take it and clean up the stabilizer. I don't think I'm going to bore you with that part. And then we're going to go ahead and trim. Actually, I'll show you how I trim this section here. For the lining, you just want to trim up to where the opening is. And then and leave these longer. And then when you cut around it, you want to cut everything around it about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, leaving these longer. So I'm going to do that, and I'll show you what we do with those in just a second. Okay, so I trimmed it all around, left these pieces longer so we can tuck those in a second. I leave my zippers a little bit long and then I melt them with a torch. Extra security so they don't like fail. But I don't even know if that helps or not, but that's what I do. Anyways, so through that opening you want to start turning your project. And what I like to do, this opening is only, let's see, 3 inches or so big. When you're using fabric for your bags, easy peasy, but when you have vinyl, sometimes you need to warm up your vinyl to make it go through there easier. So I'm going to warm up my vinyl so I can turn it, and then I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so we turned through that opening, and I poked all the corners out of this bag. Now you want to turn through the zipper. So just take your time turning your project through. Oh, stop. Don't do that. See how we have this little flap there? I forgot to seal it. So you can take this to your sewing machine and sew it. I use a project called Stitch Witchery. Comes in a little roll. There's other names for it, but that's the one that pops in my head the most. Stitch Witchery. It's kind of fun to say. Anyways, you just tuck in your little pieces. You can trim those a little more if you want, but I'm not going to. And just tuck your pieces in there. Grab yourself some piece of seal tape, Stitch Witchery, and make sure it goes to the ends. And you can build it up too, like You know, it ain't gonna hurt to, if you missed a piece, you can add some. So, and then just seal it with your iron, and it's like glue. And it will seal that shut. Now, if you're using vinyl, don't press it too long because you don't want your vinyl to melt. I've done that, and I might have just did that now. But it seals it so it doesn't open up. Love that stuff. Now the magic. Now you just want to turn your bag inside out or right side out. Now, and poke your corners out. And that's it. This is the Not Your Average Hex Bag. All my bags are made pretty much the same, except for the Lunas, and they have their own directions with them and own videos and whatnot. But for the most part, 4x4s and up, they're all done this way. If you're adding lining, if you don't want to line it, you just skip those steps. Be like, oh, I don't want to line this bag today. I don't line anything under a 5x7. Too much swearing is involved when you line those little bags. Oh goodness. See how I told you the tab, since it was diagonal, it's just how it works when you have a diagonal on a straight thing. So now you just clean up your pieces and it's all done. Easy. Don't be scared to do different shaped bags. Don't be afraid to use the placement lines to help you with your cuts. I mean, if you look at my scraps, my measurements that we did, I don't have really a lot of leftovers to me. But to you, it might seem like a lot. So use your placement steps to help guide you, because you might not be happy with what I say when it comes to measurements. You might be like, well, that's too much or not enough. It just depends. So I just wanted to show you how placement lines and steps are used for many in the hoop projects. Not just mine, but so many other designers have that first step, so you know what you're getting into. So cute bag, Not Your Average Hex. This bag's gonna go in a coffee shop. So perfect. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can email me at cutethingsbyrebecca@gmail.com. Join our Facebook group, Cute Things by Rebecca Facebook group, and always here to help. I realize there are several levels of experience. We have beginners, intermediates, and high skilled embroiderers in my group, and I want everybody to succeed when it comes to my projects. So I'm always available for help if you need it. Sometimes it takes me a minute to get to things because I have a lot of things going on sometimes, but I will always help. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.